in because we can all get caught up in a monotony and a linear.
At 57, the tragedy of Keith Urban is beyond heartbreaking. At 57, Keith Urban remains one of the most celebrated international country music stars, admired for his artistry, charisma, and heartfelt performances. Yet behind the glittering spotlight lies a history scarred by pain, struggles with addiction, memories of a turbulent household marked by his father's violence, and personal losses that left deep emotional wounds. Urban's journey is not only about fame and awards, but also about resilience, survival, and transformation. His music, filled with both heartbreak and hope, reflects a man who has turned personal battles into universal songs of healing. Keith Urban's troubled childhood. Born on October 26, 1967, in Whangarei, New Zealand, Keith Urban moved with his family to Queensland, Australia, at the age of 2. His upbringing was in a modest, middle-class household where his parents ran a small convenience store. Yet beneath the surface of this ordinary life was deep turbulence. His father, Robert Urban, struggled with alcoholism, a battle that often spilled into episodes of violence and emotional instability. While Robert introduced Keith to music and served as an early inspiration, he also became the source of fear and pain within the family. The household was marked by tense silences, unspoken suffering, and the quiet endurance of his mother and brother. For young Keith, this environment created a lasting sense of insecurity and emotional wounds that shaped his personality. Withdrawn and cautious, he often turned inward, finding solace in a world of sound. At just 6 years old, he picked up the guitar, using music as both refuge and release. What began as a distraction from hardship soon became a lifeline, a way to transform sorrow into art. Keith's difficult childhood forged both his sensitivity and his determination, laying the foundation for the artist he would one day become. Keith Urban's early music career. From the refuge of his guitar, Keith Urban began stepping into the spotlight in the early 1980s. In 1983, his raw talent was recognized when he won at the Tamworth Country Music Festival, one of Australia's most important platforms for rising country artists. This victory earned him his first appearance on television through Reg Lindsay's Country Homestead, giving audiences a glimpse of a young musician brimming with promise. By 1990, Urban had secured his first recording contract, a milestone that should have propelled him into stardom. Instead, he faced harsh realities. His band, The Ranch, struggled to find commercial success despite their skill and passion. Their eventual collapse left him disheartened and questioning his future in music. For a time, Urban stood at the edge of giving up, weighed down by disappointment and uncertainty. Yet, even in failure, he carried with him a growing determination and the lessons of resilience. These early setbacks did not define the end of his journey. Rather, they became the crucible in which his perseverance was tested and strengthened. Urban's shaky beginnings set the stage for the hard-fought triumphs that would later define his extraordinary career. Keith Urban's dark addiction years. After his shaky beginnings, Keith Urban sought a new start in Nashville in 1992, the capital of country music. Yet instead of immediate success, he faced rejection after rejection, struggling to survive in poverty while chasing his dream. Living in cramped apartments with unstable roommates, one of whom was a heavy drug user, exposed him to the darker side of life in the music industry. Alcohol and cocaine soon became his companions, numbing the pain of loneliness, failure, and self-doubt. What began as occasional indulgence grew into a relentless cycle of dependency. By the late 1990s, Urban's addiction spiraled out of control. In 1998, he entered Cumberland Heights, a rehab center in Nashville, marking his first attempt to reclaim sobriety. Although the experience brought temporary relief, relapses followed, and the early 2000s were clouded by recurring struggles. His reputation as a talented musician was nearly overshadowed by whispers of unreliability and excess. The breaking point came in 2006, shortly after marrying Nicole Kidman. Unable to hide his problem, he admitted himself to the Betty Ford Center. It was a painful but necessary step, as his addiction threatened not only his career, but also his chance at building a family. Even during his darkest moments, music remained his lifeline. Urban poured his anguish into songs like You're Not My God and Nobody Drinks Alone, raw reflections of his battle with substances. These tracks resonated deeply with listeners who heard not just polished country hits, but the confession of a man trying desperately to hold on to himself. Between despair and determination, Urban fought to reclaim his place, proving that even in the face of near ruin, art can be both salvation and survival. Nicole's love and redemption. After years of struggling with addiction, Keith Urban's life took an unexpected turn in 2005 when he met Nicole Kidman at a Hollywood event. Their connection was immediate and profound, leading to a whirlwind romance and engagement within months. In June 2006, the couple tied the knot in a grand ceremony in Sydney, surrounded by family, friends, and international media. For Urban, it was supposed to mark the beginning of a new chapter, one filled with stability and love. Yet just months after the wedding, his demons resurfaced. He relapsed into heavy drinking and cocaine use, threatening to unravel both his marriage and his career. Nicole refused to let him slip away. Instead of walking out, she staged an intervention and personally accompanied him into rehab. It was not a glamorous gesture, but an act of quiet, unwavering devotion. She temporarily stepped back from her own career to care for him, choosing late-night phone calls, hospital visits, and endless encouragement over Hollywood red carpets. For Urban, this was the turning point. Love was no longer an abstract concept, but something lived and proven through action. In interviews, he would later call it love in action, acknowledging that without Nicole's support, he might not have survived. Their bond only grew stronger as they built a family together. In 2008, their first daughter, Sunday Rose, was born in Nashville, marking a new era of joy. 2 years later, in 2010, their second daughter, Faith Margaret, arrived through a surrogate. These milestones deepened Urban's determination to remain sober and present. No longer was he merely fighting addiction for himself. He was fighting for a family that had given him a second chance at life. Between music, fatherhood, and the steady presence of Nicole, Urban found the anchor he had long been searching for. Loss and family grief of Keith Urban. Even with love, sobriety, and a successful career, Keith Urban could not escape the inevitable losses that shape a life. In 2015, his father, Robert Urban, passed away after a battle with cancer. For Keith, the moment was layered with complexity, grief mixed with a strange sense of release. His father had been both an inspiration for his love of music and the source of deep childhood scars. Saying goodbye meant mourning a parent while also letting go of years of unresolved pain. The years that followed brought further heartbreak. In 2021, Urban lost his longtime tour manager in a tragic accident, a blow not only to his professional life, but to the family-like circle that supported his music on the road. The shock reminded him once again of how fragile life could be, even in moments of great success. Then, In 2024, another tragedy struck when Janelle Kidman, Nicole's beloved mother, passed away. The Kidman urban household was thrown into mourning, as Janelle had been a stabilizing presence for the couple and their children. Keith, deeply bonded with his wife's family, felt the loss as if it were his own blood. To channel his emotions, Urban turned to what had always saved him: music. Out of his grief came Break the Chain, a song that emphasized breaking cycles of pain and trauma. Through the lyrics, he expressed his determination not to let sorrow or destructive patterns define the next generation. For Urban, the song was not just personal therapy, but a universal message of resilience. That loss can wound, but it can also inspire transformation. Rumors, pressure, and social media. After years of dealing with personal loss and grief, Keith Urban faced an unexpected challenge in 2023, a cruel wave of false rumors claiming he had died. The misinformation spread rapidly across Facebook, Twitter, and various blogs, with many posts receiving thousands of shares within hours. For fans, the sudden news was shocking. For Urban's family, it was traumatic. Nicole Kidman and their daughters were forced to see headlines suggesting that their beloved husband and father had passed away, even though he was alive and well. Fact-checking outlets like Snopes quickly confirmed that the rumors were baseless, labeling the story as a hoax. Still, the damage was already done. The experience revealed the darker side of the digital age, where a single misleading post could spiral into a worldwide narrative, causing unnecessary emotional pain. Urban himself chose not to issue a dramatic public statement. Instead, he maintained his characteristic calm, allowing the truth to surface naturally. He focused on his music, pouring his energy into songwriting and preparing for future performances. For him, the best response was silence, not because he accepted the lies, but because he valued peace over confrontation. This incident highlighted the vulnerability of public figures in the age of viral misinformation. It showed how social media could distort reality in seconds, and how resilience requires not only strength, but also restraint. Urban's ability to stay centered and prioritize his family and craft became yet another testament to his maturity and inner strength. A fresh chapter of success after enduring years of hardship, personal battles, and the crushing weight of public scrutiny. Keith Urban entered 2024 with a renewed sense of purpose that reshaped his career and legacy. The release of his highly anticipated album High became a pivotal turning point. Though modest in raw numbers, selling about 1,700 copies in its first week, the record achieved critical acclaim and commercial success, breaking into the country top 10 and landing at number 38 on the Billboard 200. For an artist who had faced both professional setbacks and personal demons, this achievement was more than a chart position. It was proof of resilience. By early 2025, High earned the honor of Best-Selling Country Album at the Golden Guitar Awards, solidifying Urban's relevance and artistic strength in a competitive industry that often leaves veteran performers behind. The triumph of High naturally set the stage for the High and Alive Tour in 2025, a monumental series of 40 performances stretching from North America to Australia. Major arenas filled quickly, with many shows selling out within days, yet Urban insisted on including smaller, more intimate venues alongside the large-scale productions. He wanted to stay connected to the core of his career, the fans who had followed him through decades of ups and downs. In these smaller clubs, he was not just a superstar, but a storyteller, sharing the inspiration behind songs, weaving personal anecdotes into his set lists, and reminding audiences that music is as much about shared humanity as it is about entertainment. One of the most defining features of this era was the way Urban used his platform for community impact. Rather than treating concerts as isolated events, he transformed them into opportunities for deeper connection. On rest days during the tour, Urban often visited rehabilitation centers or participated in small group discussions with individuals struggling with addiction and mental health issues. Drawing from his own harrowing history with drugs and alcohol, he offered empathy rather than judgment. Fans who once admired him solely for his music began to see him as a mentor and role model for perseverance. His openness became a lifeline for many who felt their struggles were invisible. Urban also amplified these efforts by partnering with his wife, Nicole Kidman. Together, they co-hosted several workshops and discussions on mental health awareness, family resilience, and the importance of breaking cycles of pain. While Nicole spoke from the perspective of a caregiver and partner, Urban provided the voice of someone who had lived through addiction and recovery. Their teamwork highlighted the role of love, support, and understanding in overcoming life's most difficult challenges. These events blurred the line between celebrity and citizen, showing that fame can be leveraged for authentic change. On stage, Urban's artistry reflected this new clarity. His guitar solos carried less flash, but more feeling. His voice bore both strength and vulnerability, and his set lists balanced familiar hits with the raw, emotional tracks of High. Fans often remarked that they were not just attending concerts, they were witnessing healing in real time. The energy of the tour was not one of nostalgia, but of rebirth, a celebration of both survival and growth. By the close of 2025, Keith Urban's career revival had become a blueprint for how artists could age gracefully in a youth-driven industry without losing relevance. His journey showed that scars could become symbols, that music could evolve alongside the man, and that community impact could stand shoulder to shoulder with commercial success. More importantly, it revealed that resilience, honesty, and love, when channeled through art, could inspire thousands to confront their own struggles. For Urban, these years were not just about making a comeback, but about redefining what it means to truly be high and alive. Family, Keith Urban's greatest anchor. After years of turmoil, stage lights, and the unrelenting pace of fame, Keith Urban has often said that the one thing that keeps him grounded is not music, but family. His marriage to Nicole Kidman and their two daughters, Sunday Rose and Faith Margaret, have become the center of his universe, providing him with strength that no award or chart position could ever match. Urban, once consumed by the chaos of addiction and the demands of the music industry, now makes a conscious effort to prioritize family time above everything else. Whether it is joining Nicole for quiet walks, attending their daughter's school events, or simply spending evenings at home watching movies. Urban has embraced the normalcy that was absent from much of his youth and early career. He often shares glimpses of these moments on social media. Photos of family dinners, candid snapshots of Nicole laughing, or short videos of himself strumming a guitar while his daughters listen. These glimpses not only endear him to fans, but also demonstrate how deeply he treasures the ordinary joys of domestic life. Family has also given Urban a new source of creative inspiration. Many of his recent songs carry themes of love, resilience, and gratitude, reflecting the emotional foundation his wife and children provide. He has credited Nicole for being his rock, the one who not only stood by him during his darkest struggles, but also continues to encourage him to chase artistic fulfillment without sacrificing personal happiness. Their partnership is more than just a Hollywood love story. It is a testament to the healing power of loyalty, patience, and unconditional support. Perhaps most importantly, family life helps Urban maintain balance. The music industry can be brutal, but having a home filled with laughter, warmth, and stability allows him to step away from the spotlight without losing himself. This equilibrium has enabled him to continue performing at the highest level while still remaining present as a husband and father. In many ways, Keith Urban's greatest success is not his awards or his tours, but the fact that he has built a life where love, family, and music coexist in harmony. Keith Urban's lasting legacy, from the darkness of addiction to the brightness of global stages. Keith Urban's story stands as a living testament to resilience. He is not only a country music superstar, but also a symbol of rebirth and determination. Through the power of music, the unwavering support of love, and his own will to overcome tragedy, Urban has built a legacy far beyond awards and fame. His journey continues to inspire thousands who struggle with addiction and mental health challenges, reminding them that redemption is always possible and that hope can be found even in the darkest chapters of life. If Keith Urban's inspiring story touched you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more heartfelt journeys ahead.